Might be my best photography purchase ever, or at least in recent year. These boots. It's lovely having a couple of proper hiking boots, even though they were kind of expensive. Yeah, makes life being out in the nature so much easier. Today we are going to try two things that I kind of failed before. Firstly, we are back at the location I've been at before. I was here on a very snowy day about a year ago. Lovely conditions for photography, but I never really captured any good images on that day, so we are going to try and do that today, even though condition might not be the best today. Secondly, we are giving HP5 one final shot. So yeah, let's see what we can find today. And by the way, welcome to the video, and we are heading into the marsh today. Quite a special place this, at least for this part of the country. I suppose it's quite common up north. But yeah, it's this marsh. Let's look at it. This vast openness, and then you have kind of a couple of trees scattered around here. There is some woodlands as well, we'll explore that as well, but for now I think I'm going to shoot that tree there. It kind of lines up quite nicely. The 250 lens on the Hasselblad, I think that will do nicely as a warm-up image. I'm just fine-tuning the composition slightly. It's not the best in the world. I have this tree dead in the center of the frame. Then on the left hand, right hand on the viewfinder, we have these small birches, I think it's this, and kind of bushy trees. I think I'm going to take two images of this scene, even though it's not perhaps the best, but kind of want to have one with a lot of negative space with the clouds above, and one including quite a lot of this marsh in the foreground. Yeah, see if it works out, but yeah, first the warm-up image. Oh, kind of slippery these boardwalks, even though I have the good boots on. But yeah, I am not at the best start to redeem this location. That first shot, perhaps not the best in the world, but always good to get in those warm-up shots. But why shoot HP5 if I don't like it? Well, I tried a couple of different film stocks in the recent year, and I finally settled into my default film stock being FP4. But there's one problem with FP4, that is it's ISO 125. And on a day like today, when it's grey, overcast, miserable November, you kind of want a bit higher, a bit faster film. So an ISO 400 film is lovely on a day like this. So we are giving HP5 one last shot to redeem itself. I might not give it the best conditions or the best location, but we do try. Let's see if we can find something to photograph. I dared venture off the boardwalk. It's just next to me, but I took a couple steps out into this quite wet marsh. But the boots, I'm raving a bit about the boots today. But yeah, they have this like rubber bottom, so it's quite nice because they will protect you from the wet. Anyhow, it is a challenging day today. There's no atmosphere, there's no light. Well, there's atmosphere because it's really grey, but we have no light, and I mean no light. It's quite dark. So you kind of have to work with the colors and hope they render in the grayscales. So I noticed there's a couple of birches around, and I do love birches in black and white because they just work so well. And then I noticed there's some lighter green among the mosses here. And I think those will render a bit lighter. I will actually put on a green filter as well, because that will help the green slightly. And I'm not sure how much, but slightly. And I'm actually gonna try and frame this, so I include a lot of the ground actually in this shot, and then just have the top third with this group of trees and the birch dead in center there, and then have a nice distribution by the trees in the background. I'm going to shoot this quite wide open. Well, it's medium format, so it's not a super small aperture, but I think like f8 or something like that. Anyhow, about the film, the HP5, I never really got along with it, as I said, because it's quite a flat film look. I don't really like that very flat look, but it does have one thing going for it, and it's incredibly versatile. Being flat, that means it's a good starting point for a lot of edit, but it's also a film you can push and pull quite well. So I've seen online a lot of people pushing this one step. So instead of shooting as an ISO 400 film, I'm going to shoot it as an ISO 800. And by pushing it to ISO 800, they will of course give you even faster shutter speeds, but it will also increase the contrast when you then develop it. So it might just get that look I'm after. So we are trying that today. I've never shot HP5 at ISO 800, so it will be interesting. I'm going to take a measure of the scene, dial in the composition a bit better. I just done it quite roughly, and we're going to minute it as always. And we'll see, and I do hope the image works. And we do one with the green filter as well. I have kind of checked the filters. There was no chart when I bought these filters, what filter factor it is, but I do think it's 1.5 stop after some trial and error. So this is then shot at f11 and 1.5 second. So we'll see if it does any difference. It is a very small difference with or without color filters in some cases, and in some cases it's a huge difference. And I'm not skilled enough to actually know when it does make a big difference and when it doesn't. So it's interesting. I'm still learning using the color filters, but they are a nice tool to have in black and white, and I do think it's one of those things I kind of need to learn to master if I want to become really good on black and white with film photography. I'm not above the obvious shot. Yes, we are shooting the boardwalk and this nice little bend in the boardwalk here. It's obvious. Is it a great image? No, but it will look pretty nice, I think. So I'm shooting it. Perhaps the only little bit interesting about this shot is I hyper-focused it. So this lens goes to f/22, so I put it at f/16 to make as much as possible in focus. And then I just looked at the lens and put infinity at the 60 mark. And then everything else falls where it falls, and I think it will be okay. And it's shot at f/16 and then half a second, sorry. The light is starting to drop. I have noticed I had to lower my shutter speed to about 1 or 2 stops. So 1 or 2 stops faster shutter speeds now. And this is 10 to 4, and I think the sun sets at 20 past 4 today. So half an hour left. We'll continue. See if we can find anything else. I'm not convinced we will do that, but we'll try. Really is the last little ditch of the light now. It's super dark. But I'm following this boardwalk and I will lead my back to my car. And we have all these lovely birches here among these mossy grounds with those lighter greens among themselves. And as there's no light, we have to work with colors and different tonalities within the color. And birches are nice as they are white. We have one small little log from a birch laying in the grasses there. And I'm just trying to find a nice framing with the longer lens, the 250, to frame that as a foreground element and then have a nice distribution by trees in the background. If I was uncertain about my other shots today, I'm even more doubtful about this. But you never regret you never regret the images you take, you do regret the images you don't. So I'm going to try it. This is going to be the last image of today, and then we are going back to the car and getting home and in a couple of days develop the film. I do have a couple of frames left, but yeah, we'll see if this image works. It will be interesting. So that last exposure, I ended up doing it at 30 seconds. Firstly at f11, then I stepped down the aperture to f8 as well, just to make sure. Yeah, it's quite dark. My spot meter wasn't able to register the EV value. It just goes down to EV3. So I used my digital camera to figure out my exposure. But I'm not too sure about that image. There's a glimmer of hope though. With longer exposures, then the difference in grayscale between the colors will increase. So that's a small glimmer of hope. But yeah, it's getting really dark, so that's it for today. That's the final image of the day. And we'll see if HP5 has redeemed itself and might earn its spot as my preferred film for ISO 400. But we'll see, we'll see. You've already seen the results. I can only hope. See you in the next one. Take care and bye.